What's up, team? It's Ghost Stories Gaming back with another Deadlock video. Today we are talking about skin concepts for half of the Deadlock roster. In the interest of time, I'm doing a two-part video as I need more time and thought for the heroes I didn't include in this one, so there will be a part 2. Stick around if you didn't see your main mentioned in this particular video. Please note I am not a professional artist or Photoshop guru, so I don't have any of the actual designed skins, but rather this is going to be more of an inspiration board for each hero, what I thought might be a fitting skin concept for each one of those heroes. If there are any artists that have the skills to make these come to life, please tag me. I want to see it. In addition, I'm only going to be covering skins and not the idea that cosmetics would alter the effects or designs of the hero abilities. I know in some titles, changing the skin might also change the color or appearance. That is an additional layer to these changes, and I'm not sure if Valve would want to do that or not. I imagine that might be annoying for professional players because now you're having to memorize not only the abilities of each hero, but the abilities as they appear if a hero is wearing a specific cosmetic or skin. Anyway, currently there are no skins in the game for Deadlock, but I imagine these will come in the future. 1, because of money. 2, because of money. 3, because cosmetics are cool and they can be really cool, and it allows us as players, as fans, to collect, and collecting is huge in the gaming space. I would also say at this point it's an industry standard, especially for free-to-play games. You gotta have cosmetics. Let's jump in. First up, we have Detective Abrams. Now, I think of Abrams and his kit. He's a brawler. He punches. He can fly up into the air and slam into the ground. So what I thought about when I thought about Abrams, I thought of professional boxers. I thought of Jax, Doomfist. I thought of a burly, shirtless guy with wrapped hands, wrapped arms. I thought that would look really cool. I also have Kratos up here if you want to go that ancient mythology route. I think you could pull that off. Maybe give him a beard. He already looks like Hellboy, so the demon time skin's not really interesting to me. You could go super minimalistic with kind of the Superman Clark Kent. He kind of gives me that vibe as well. But anything with wrapped hands I think would look really, really sick. Since he is an up in your face, he is a brawler. Sports skins aren't my favorite, but somehow they always make their way into games. So if you wanted to have one, it wouldn't be my first choice, and it may not fit the vibe of Deadlock as a whole, but having them in boxing attire, you know, with like a big robe, like a boxing robe, those robes they come out with all the pomp and circumstance when boxers come into the ring, you could do that and, you know, have Abrams and glitter on the back of the robe or something. But these guys, these characters are kind of where I can see Abrams crossing over into. Next up, we have Wesley Grey Talon, more aptly known as Grey Talon, more aptly known as Grandma. He's the archer in the game of Deadlock. His kit, he can fly up in the air. He can shoot these overcharged arrows to chunk his enemies. He can lay traps down. His ultimate, he throws out an owl that will caw and screech and terrify your enemies into using their movement abilities. So I tried to stick with bow type inspirations. I think like an old English longbowman could be funny. Give him a big like metal hat or a metal helmet from the medieval times. Put him in something, you know, like that padded armor. You could go the super minimalistic route with the headband, no shirt, kind of like Rambo. I also think an underrated archer in military history is the samurai bowman, samurai archer. The swordsmen of those days get a lot more coverage or history. The traditional Japanese armor is just so sick. So you could do that route. You could go the opposite route of what his design is right now and do more of like a robot or a cyborg version, which is why I have the small photo of the cyborg robot with a bow and arrow. Make him kind of like half human, half robot. Again, I don't know if that fits the vibe of Deadlock, just thoughts and ideas. Now, stick with me on the fisherman. You gave him a little corncob pipe. You put him in that long yellow wetsuit, that fisherman suit with the flipped up hat. For some reason, I just saw it. You could make his arrows harpoons or have his trap be some kind of fishing equipment with a big hook or something, or maybe that's something for Bebop to put him in with the big fisherman's hook. I like Grey Talon, and I kind of like the look as is. I didn't know how to fit the braids in. I think that's a big part of his design, so I wasn't quite sure how to include that, or if you don't mess with it and just keep it as is. But these are my thoughts on Wesley Grey Talon. Also, if you haven't read his background, it's extremely sad. Make sure to go read it. Next up, we have the notorious member of the Sandman division. We've got Hayes. Now, I think Hayes has a lot of options here, especially with the dual wielding of the weapons. We've got Trinity from the Matrix. Matrix, we've got a Buccaneer, we've got some skins from Heroes of the Storm, inspired by Vala a little bit with the dual-wielding crossbows, a Witch Hunter type skin. We've got Angelina Jolie and Sky Captain World of Tomorrow, and Amelia Earhart. Now, hear me out on some of these. The dual-wielding flintlock pistols, the dual-wielding crossbows, kind of like a vampire slayer skin, would fit well with Haze. I mean, you could just slap the costume from Sky Captain straight onto Haze right now with the eye patch, having the one up. Like, that is, to me, is such a cool look. The Amelia Earhart one, I can see Haze with like a leather cap with the flaps and maybe like an aviator's jacket with the big goggles on her head. I saw that as well. But most importantly, Trinity from the Matrix, that bank scene. She could have like a big leather overcoat that flails as she runs. I thought that would be really cool. I think Haze has a ton of potential. Just the dual wielding of the weapons allows for so much. The all leather look, the eye patch. You could have the Trinity glasses. Any one of these I would be super happy about. The aviation look as well. Haze is one of my favorite characters to play. Very simple to use. Her whole kit is about stealth. You stealth in, you put people to sleep, you get an elimination here or there, and then you bot that. It's about jumping in, getting a couple eliminations, or harassing the back line. Just doing it quickly with a lot of skill and finesse. I think these types of characters have that. Those are my thoughts on Haze. Next up, we have Lady Jean Geist. Now, two characters popped into my head instantly when looking at Geist, thinking about her kit, which is all about draining life, sacrificing her own life to do damage. Very much a warlock or witch type kit. First of all, Cruella de Vil, I think, would match up perfectly with the Lady Geist aesthetic. You have the Dalmatian coat, you could do the split color hair. The revolver pistol seems like a weapon that Cruella de Vil would use. You could put gloves on her, I mean, everything just fits so perfectly in my eyes. I mean, they might have even modeled her after Cruella de Vil, like her current model. It just, to me, matches up so well. The oversized fur, a little bit of darkness, a little bit of evil. If you read her backstory for Lady Geist, you can see it's a little dark. She cares very much about her image, and she made this deal with a not so nice entity to be able to keep her youth. And Cruella de Vil, I think, would make the same deal. And the other character is going to be Lady M from Resident Evil Village. You could do more traditional black and white and gray, kind of a gothic look. Lady Geist's image kind of looks like she's from the 1920s as it is, but you could make it a little bit darker, a little more, you could make her skin a little paler, do dark eyeshadow, dark makeup. She's even got that claw. Lady M has that claw, or the claws on the end of her hand, which would line up with the kind of the dead, possessed arm that Lady Geist has. I just think that Cruella de Vil skin would go crazy. It's honestly, I'm probably going to use it for the thumbnail. I think it matches up so well. I do think you could do kind of a witchy type skin. I thought it might be a little bit on the nose because of the kit. I was trying to look for stuff that might be opposite of what people might be drawn to instantly, but you could get away with a witch or warlock or demon type skin for her as well. Those are my thoughts on Lady Geist. Next up, we have Jacob Lash. Now, according to Lash's background in the game of Deadlock, Jacob Lash is an asshole. That's literally what it says. You can go look at the background on the game on his profile right now. That's the only sentence for Lash's background. For Lash's skin concepts, I instantly thought of, again, the sports skins are not my favorite when inserted into games, but I instantly thought of the Flint Tropics, Will Ferrell with the afro, someone just dunking a basketball from way high up. His kit sent him far into the air. He's lassoing the entire team, throwing him down. His kit is a lot of movement. You got to stay mobile with Lash. He can completely disrupt fights and just dunk on you. And that's what made me think of basketball players. I could see him with like a big headband, a big afro. Could put him in some kind of athletic gear. Again, not my favorite skin, but at least like the haircut. I just see him with a big afro and like a big headband, just slamming people down from the skies. I also thought of like maybe like an archaeological kit because he's got all the ropes. It could be climbing gear. That's what it looks like. So Indiana Jones type kit, having the hat on, give him the leather jacket, add more ropes to him, and then a cowboy. Now we have a cowboy character coming into play soon, hopefully. Current name is Holiday. Keep an eye out for that character coming in. Cowboy is a little simple but doable, and that's just putting a big cowboy hat on him, giving him the lasso, put him in some dungarees and some cowboy boots. I think you could get away with that. Now Jacob Lash is not a character that I play. I think people who dedicate their time to being good at Lash, I'm never going to catch up to those people, so I'm going to leave them be, let them do do their thing. In the right hands, this guy can completely disrupt a game. In the wrong hands, a complete burden to your team. Let the Lash lifestyle players do their thing. Don't try to compete with them. Just let them do it. They're always going to be ahead. They're always like the Lash montages are going to be some of the best out there. Mark my words. These are my thoughts on Jacob Lash. Next up, we have Maggie McGinnis. Now, there are a lot of directions that you can take McGinnis. I've thought about a bunch of different ones. I just settled on one concept that I thought could be cool. Bear with me on this one. I thought Maggie McGinnis would be cool as sort of a plant-based hero, a lot different from plant-based meat. So when I thought of McGinnis, I thought of like the Swamp Thing. I thought of the Mushroom Companion from Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. I thought of Poison Ivy. I thought of Plants vs. Zombies. So give McGinnis this sort of plant-based skin. You know, her wall can be like a wall of vines type thing. Her turrets, I thought Plants vs. Zombies have a bunch of ideas, inspired ideas for what her turrets could be. All the turrets can be different styles of plants that shoot things. You can give her a color scheme kind of like Poison Ivy. Uma Thurman's Poison Ivy. Shout out. And her healing, you know, her healing circle could be like a field of flowers or kind of a swamp type feel. You know, I don't know how you'd morph the gun yet. Maybe she shoots spores of some kind, but have McGinnis turned into like this plant-based, because her whole thing is about engineering and technological advancements. So you go the opposite route and make all of her stuff this all-natural, one with nature type stuff. I think McGinnis has a ton of potential with her kit, with her whole build, the whole concept, but I thought like a plant-based style. I don't know how else to phrase that, guys. I just keep saying plant-based, like plant-based protein. But the Swamp Thing, you can make her super evil looking. Her turrets have so much potential into what they could be reskinned into. McGinnis, my thoughts on McGinnis, have her be a plant-based hero. Next up, we have Mo and Krill. I think Mo and Krill has a lot of potential as well for skins. I only came up with two concepts or two ideas to go with. The first one is a lion tamer, because you're gonna have to come up with costumes that fit two separate characters. The thought of a lion tamer, our gentleman on the back wearing a top hat, you know, a little lion tamer or like circus suit, and then you could put the gentleman on the bottom. You could put like a lion's mane, or almost have him look like he's wearing a lion costume type of deal there. The second one is to do sort of an alien theme. If you guys remember the movie Mars Attacks, I think an alien like that, or even our alien from Men in Black. I picked both of them because they're more on the smaller side of the aliens of all the alien movies or content that we see, and have our gentleman on the back be sort of a smaller type alien, and then you might have to come up with a more original design for our gentleman on the bottom for the alien side. A lion tamer, an alien type setup. Usually there's an alien type skin in most of these games. I feel like you don't see Lion Tamer too often. I think Mo and Krill has a lot of potential, again, still on the skins end. I'm not really thinking of their kit when I'm doing this. They've got a disarm, he's got a burrow, you could do a lot of stuff with that. Got something where he's, you know, you capture an enemy with his ult, they can't get out of it, and it's basically a free kill or a free pick depending on your team. These are the ideas I had for Mo and Krill. Again, not a character I use a whole lot. In the right hands, a menace. In the wrong hands, it's a wasted spot on your team. I would call Mo and Krill, I swear if I say high skill gap, someone's gonna be upset. But I think good players, to be effective with Mo and Krill, I think you have to be good at the game and have a really good concept and understanding of the game. And I think you have to have a lot of hours in. He's not going to be the easiest character to pick up and be good with. I think he's relatively easy to use maybe, but not easy to master. You're going to have a lot of unexpected and unplanned deaths if you're not good with Mo and Krill and maybe you're new to Deadlock. Cool character. I like the idea that you have two people to work with, or two characters to work with. You know, you've got the Lion Tamer, the alien setup. I kind of like the alien build a little more than the Lion Tamer setup, but these are my thoughts on Mo and Krill. Next up, we have Aaron Fairfax, or Aaron Fairfax, however you want to pronounce it, aka Pocket. Now, upon looking upon Pocket, I instantly thought of Eddie Redmayne from Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. That is almost, I mean, if you go look at the character in that movie and look at Pocket, they have a very similar, it's kind of this classic London look, especially with the long scarf and the vest and the collared shirt with the briefcase. But what I have for Pocket, we've got the Trickster from DBD, we have the Cursed Speech User from Jujutsu Kaisen, the Crazy 88s over there from Kill Bill, and the last photo I have here, Hear Me Out. We'll get to that toward the end of this description. We're looking at Pocket, thinking about what the opposite could be. The Trickster, to me, from Dead by Daylight, has sort of like a cyberpunk, it's like a lot of neon colors, it's bright, it's colorful, it's the opposite of what Pocket looks like, which is well-dressed, cool, calm, and collected. So going that kind of punk route, that neon punk route, I thought could be interesting. Having a sort of like a turtleneck that maybe goes all the way up and covers his nose, I thought could be interesting as well. The Crazy 88s, I could see him in like a black and white suit with a mask. The last photo that I have, it's gonna be a little abstract. Picture him in like this olive green military uniform, obviously no affiliation. I always like the aesthetic of having a briefcase handcuffed to somebody. So having him hold the briefcase, just kind of like a plain brown military or olive green military uniform with a briefcase that is handcuffed to his arm, and add those details in where it's handcuffed in and make it look like whatever's in the briefcase, nobody should have but him. You know, he's gonna die on that hill or defend it to his last breath. So that kind of image for Pocket, either go the complete opposite. I think the Trickster vibe from Dead by Daylight fits him really well. You can go a more classic look with the Crazy 88s, but give him a mask or some kind of headgear, the basic kind of all black turtleneck look like the JJK. Or I think it could be cool that I think what they call it is a nuclear football, which is where someone walks around with the president and has the codes to all the nuclear bombs, have some kind of case strapped to him or handcuffed to him. I think could look really cool for Pocket. Next up, we have everybody's favorite foot model, Vindicta. When I saw Vindicta, when we sat down thinking about it, and by we, I mean me, the very first thing I thought about was Carrie. If you guys have not seen the horror movie Carrie, please go watch it. I think the Carrie aesthetic fits with Vindicta so well. We've also added Rapunzel there. I basically picked Rapunzel out because you could take Vindicta from this like dark, mysterious. If you go look at her background, she's basically back from the dead, and turn her into like a Disney princess, kind of go the opposite way. Now, some of you are seeing the Jumanji Big Game Hunter. Here are my thoughts on that. Put Vindicta in the old-timey, old English Big Game Hunter outfit, because essentially she has an elephant gun. She's like this tiny petite person with a big ass gun. And so if you put her in that like old time, you could even give her like a little fake mustache and give her that big blunderbuss weapon look. You guys know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, go watch the original Jumanji movie. Way better than the new ones, by the way. Go watch that one and put her in this like big game hunting outfit. I think that would be hilarious. But I really do like the Carrie aesthetic, and I don't know if you just kind of cover her in blood or how that would work. And I didn't have a whole lot of good ideas for the ponytail, the hair, which is a big part of Vindicta. So if anyone has ideas on how to incorporate that giant braid, the only thing I could really think of was Rapunzel, but the Big Game Hunter and the Carrie movies came to the forefront, especially with their kit. I think Carrie could match with the Big Game Hunter. That'd be a little more silly. These are my thoughts on Vindicta. Next up, we have everybody's favorite goo ball, Viscus, who's actually a psychic sea anemone. I know, go read his background. It's pretty weird. Everybody's favorite goo ball, Viscus. What I have picked out for him are the following. I've got an astronaut. I thought about a race car driver, a vintage deep sea diver, and the Stay Puffed Marshmallow Man. Anybody with a cool helmet, essentially, I think would fit very well with Viscus. If they are going to change the cosmetics and the physical appearance of some of the abilities, I think the goo ball, his ultimate, has a lot to work with. So if it was a race car driver, it might turn into a big tire or something. I think the astronaut would fit well. The big goo ball could turn into a meteor of some kind. Maybe the deep sea diver, he turns into like a puffer fish that rolls around. The Stay Puffed, I just got kind of a vibe. I don't even know what that would look like. He just makes me think of the Marshmallow Man. Of these four, honestly, I would be pumped for any of them. Viscus is a fun character. He's a silly character. His design is somewhat basic in terms of shape, and he's malleable, both literally and metaphorically. Any one of these skins I would be totally fine with. I really like the astronaut idea. I think putting a helmet on him like that would be awesome. I know it's been done, both the astronaut and the deep sea diver skins. We've seen them before, but they're good, and I think they would both fit in well for what the goo ball is all about. Last but not least, wrapping up part 1 of this series is Yamato. Now, Yamato's kit is all about the sword play. It's all about finesse. It's all about making the exact right moves at the exact right time. Very cool character. What I had thought for Yamato, instantly, it felt like a Kill Bill vibe. I think like a jumpsuit, an all, one color jumpsuit with the sword. It's a minimalist, it's a basic, but just clean type skin, such as Kill Bill. I thought the blade aesthetic was really cool, maybe like a vampire hunter type skin for Yamato. And then finally, again, with the sports skins, they're not my favorite. With Yamato's hair, I kind of saw this long hair coming down with a headband coming across, these vintage tennis stars in their day in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Those looks were hilarious, and I thought they looked great. Similar to Lash's basketball concept with the afro and the headband, I thought Yamato could rock this vintage tennis look. Very cool character. The idea of the jumpsuit, the Kill Bill thing, I like a lot, and I also really like the idea of the vintage tennis aesthetic. Blade's up there just because of the sword play and a vampire hunter concept. It's not my favorite, but I could definitely see it for Yamato as well. That's it for me, folks. Thank you guys so very much. This is Ghost Stories Gaming on all things social. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to leave a like or a sub, all that good stuff. You know what to do. If there were any skin concepts that you did not see that you thought should be included, make sure to drop those down below. If we get enough of them, might be able to do like a follow-up video of all the skin concepts that you guys would want to see added to Deadlock, or at least to this first chunk of heroes. I'm not going to include any concept heroes or Hero Labs heroes yet. I want to make sure the heroes are finalized before we do any content like this for those ones. But stick around for part 2. We'll see you guys in about a week or so for this series specifically. Make sure to check out the YouTube channel. I do a lot of game reviews. I make a lot of content for a lot of different games across all formats. Make sure to check out the Midnight Release podcast, which is also on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts. And those are one-on-one conversations with creators around the space. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.